Is Antichrist supposed to be loved by 99% of those in the world? I have heard many fellow Christians use this statement to defend their idol after he was accused by some Christians to be fulfilling a lot of Antichrist prophecies. Let us dive into the unfiltered Word of God to see if that claim is supported by Word of God, or if it is just mankind twisting the Word of God to fit their worldly agenda. Revelation 13 verse 7 to verse 8 states that it was granted to him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and authority was given him over every tribe, tongue, and nation. All who dwell on the earth will worship him, whose names have not been written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. Reading these two verses, it is clear that only those who are not in the book of life will follow or worship the Antichrist, not everyone. Matthew 24 verse 11 says, "Then many false prophets will rise up and deceive many." Verse 24 and 25 say, "For false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect." See, I have told you beforehand, it is clear that the deception is going so great that even a lot of believers who don't know or keep the teachings of Christ will be deceived. But those who do are aware of the warnings Jesus gave us beforehand. To understand what kind of Christians will be deceived here, let us turn to the teachings Jesus gave in Matthew 13 verse 19 to verse 23, the explanation of the parable of the sower. Jesus said, "When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, then the wicked one comes and snatches away what was sown in his heart. This is he who received seed by the wayside." I believe these are believers who barely knew the teachings of Jesus on earth. They, the false apostles, later come to them in the name of Christ teaching a gospel Jesus didn't teach. They fall for the lie. Jesus said, "But he who received the seed on stony places, this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy, yet he has no root in himself, but endures only for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. Now, he who received seed among the thorns is he who hears the word, and the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becomes unfruitful." I believe these two groups of believers had decent knowledge of the teachings of Jesus on earth, but did not have root in the most important principles. These are the ones that were promised to be raptured out before the tribulations and never prepared to endure to the end. When the birth pains begin before their rapture, they accept the Antichrist savior preached to them because of desperation. Things like the economy, immigration chaos worldwide, and lawlessness and rest among nations will shock them, as they were only promised honey and milk.
Those who received the word in stony places may initially endure the pre-tribulation birth pains, but when the 3.5 years of great tribulation begins, they end up bowing to the Antichrist out of fear of persecution and out of fear of getting killed. Jesus said, "But he who received seed on the good ground is he who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and produces, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. I believe these are the ones who understand all the teachings of Christ on earth, and have been preparing to endure to the end, knowing that Jesus will not return until after the end of the greatest time of suffering since God created the world. These were mentally ready because the moment they started seeing the chaos prophesied of, they accepted that the hour is at hand, are willing to drink the cup of suffering promised by Christ to come to those who do not fall away from his teachings. These will only be looking up to heaven, saying, "Let your will be done, Lord." They will not be looking for a worldly savior to save them from the world crumbling before them, but they only look up to Jesus. If the entire world will love and serve the Antichrist, why then does the Bible say he will persecute saints? Daniel 11 from verse 32 to verse 35 says, "Those who do wickedly against the covenant he shall corrupt with flattery. But the people who know their God shall be strong and carry out great exploits. And those of the people who understand shall instruct many. Yet for many days they shall fall by sword and flame, by captivity and plundering. Now, when they fall, they shall be aided with a little help. But many shall join with them by intrigue. And some of those of understanding shall fall, to refine them, purify them, and make them white, until the time of the end, because it is still for the appointed time. It is clear that the Antichrist will corrupt those who don't know their God, but the ones who know their God shall understand the times and instruct many. This is exactly what I am doing now, instructing many who were already deceived. Many are waking up, But those who are not in the book of life will believe the lie until the Antichrist and the false prophet are cast in the lake of fire. There is nothing anyone can do for those. Those are the same who come on my channels to muddy my preaching and threaten me for exposing the lie. What they don't know is that those who are killed for preaching gospel of truth will rule with Christ in the kingdom of heaven. I will keep preaching unto death. No flesh can stop me. No one will be able to kill their way into heaven, so don't let the strong delusions fool you. The Antichrist Christ rule is only for 7 years. He and Satan will enjoy that short glory but fry for eternity. Let that sink. There are countless verses that prove that those who are not rooted in the teachings of Christ on earth will be deceived and bow before the Antichrist.
Into Thessalonians 2 from verse 9 to verse 12, Apostle Paul said, "The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this reason, God will send them strong delusion, that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth but had pleasure in unrighteousness." It's clear those are the ones who love not the truth, or the true teachings of Christ, but preferred lies, will be given over to strong delusions to believe the lies so that they will be condemned. Into Thessalonians 2 from verse 2 to verse 4, Apostle Paul said, "Not to be soon shaken in mind or troubled, either by spirit or by word or by letter, as if from us, as though the day of Christ had come. Let no one deceive you by any means, for that day will not come unless the falling away comes first. And the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." I believe these are the believers who fall away from true faith, accepting the teaching and agenda of the Antichrist while trumping every teaching of Christ in place of Christ. That is the true definition of Antichrist, coming in the name of Christ to take the place of Christ in the hearts and minds of believers. Into Corinthians 11 verse 13 to verse 15, Paul said, "For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into apostles of Christ. And no wonder, for Satan himself transforms himself into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also transform themselves into ministers of righteousness, whose end will be according to their works." It's clear Satan will transform his ministers into ministers of righteousness to deceive believers. Disclaimer: all content I post on my channel is for entertainment purposes only and may not be facts. Time will tell. Ha ha ha. But for now, just enjoy, like, share, and subscribe for more entertaining content. If you have any end time topic you want me to make entertaining content about, please leave it in the comment. Thank you for watching.